our panelists for making our time to join us today. Today, we are going to have a panel discussion on excelling in the non-engineering sector. So we have on the panel, we have Chinedu Omenkuku, we have Ruth Opara, we have Fortune Umego, we have Imaeka Charles, and obviously moderating will be Upe Abelega. And we also have with us Wahid Azizi. Wahid is from the Royal Academy of Engineering, the major sponsors of this event, and he will be here to just say a quick goodwill message or greeting to us, maybe in 5 minutes before we start off the discussion. So I will just go on to take on the profile of our speakers, and then we'll take it from there. So Fortune Umego is a 2010 graduate of electronic engineering from our university. Started out his career as a software developer before moving to project and product management. He joined KPMG in 2012 as an IT risk consultant and later as an IT project advisory consultant. He then left to pursue a master's in IT management and organizational change at University of Lancaster, where he graduated with a distinction, and he interned at Lloyd, UK. He's currently an IT program manager at BC Liquor, Vancouver, Canada. You're welcome on this panel, Fortune.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Emeka Charles she graduated with a first-class honors from electrical engineering in 2010 and also has an MBA from the University of South Wales, UK. She started out as a data analyst at Akwa Ibom State Government. She then joined UNN briefly as a lecturer before proceeding to Total Nigeria as a cost controller. I look forward to her sharing how she went to Total to be interviewed for an engineering position, but then she found an opening for her first love, which is accountancy and money matters. You're welcome on this panel.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Ruth Opara, she is an electronic engineering graduate from University of Nigeria, obviously, and she has a postgraduate diploma in education. She's now an education consultant with special interest in children with special needs. She's the director of Amber Crest Education, Port Harcourt. You're welcome on this panel, Ruth. Okay, I think she's having a little bit challenge with her network, hopefully. And finally on the panel is Chinedu Omenkuku. I would give him the honors to do his profile himself because I don't, I think I want to hear from the horse's mouth. But all I would say is that currently he's a senior product manager at Huawei, Lagos. And then he has a lot of other things to his name, like his business, his photography, and all that. So I will let him do the introduction, maybe briefly.
Okay, hi everyone. Apologies, I didn't get to send you that profile. Since you're talking about education, I guess I also graduated from electronics engineering, and I also have a master's in business administration.
Oh, lovely.
Thank you.
And then finally, to moderate this session, we have Upe Abelega. Upe is graduated from the Department of Electrical Engineering in 2010. He started out as an electrical engineer at the Transmission Company of Nigeria before leaving to pursue a commercial career in sales and marketing with Nigerian Breweries Limited, PLC. Though he has returned back to engineering at Eton, UK, he is currently studying for his master's degree in engineering management from Brunel University and hopes to apply his commercialization or his commercialism to drive the success of engineering solutions in the market. You're welcome to this panel.
Thank you for having me.
So before we move on, I would like Wahid, if you would want to say hi to the to the team and the panel before we go on to the discussion. Wahid is from the Royal Academy of Engineering, UK.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to this wonderful session. I'm here just to participate in this and listen to your conversation in this wonderful session, which is engineering for me. So I appreciate the invitation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So Gupe, I will hand over to you to moderate this session.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for making out the time to be with us. And thank you for allowing us the opportunity to share with you our experiences and hopefully wisdom. However little it is, hopefully you will find something that will add to the wisdom you already have and help you make decisions that are going to drive your career going forward. Like IJ said, I graduated from electrical engineering and I was eager to get into the industry and start. And fortunately, I got the chance to do something that was very related to what I did. I was doing protection and control with the Transmission Company of Nigeria. It was a great job on paper. And it was nice for a while. But then I was doing this on the island in Lagos. My substation was, I was in Ajah sub-region. We were managing Lekki, Ikoyi, Apapa, Unilag, nice places. So the biggest challenge I had then was that I couldn't pay rent. I was living in Lekki and I could not pay rent in Lekki. I was squatting with my friends then. And if I have to be honest with you, that was the thing that drove me out of engineering. How can I do a job that would not give me enough money to pay rent? Now, I'm not saying this will be your case, and you have to understand, Lekki is expensive. For a fresh graduate doing most jobs in Nigeria, Lekki is expensive. But I didn't have the option of transfer. I didn't even want to transfer because they had the best stations in Nigeria. There were a couple of GIS stations coming up. And I played an active role in the construction and commissioning of those stations, which was helpful. And that's had a bearing on my career later on when I moved back to engineering. But the point I'm making is you're not limited by your circumstances or your training. If you think you've done engineering and things are not working out, then there are always other things that you can do, as you will learn today. When you hear from our colleagues who are on the panel, they will share their experiences with you and tell you how they made the change and the steps they took and any advice they have for you, basically, so you can do the same in your careers. Fortunately, I made a transition to a commercial field that paid me well. I believe you guys are in Aba. I spent a couple of years in Aba. I was in the brew in Aba for a while. And my career was rewarding. Fortunately, other opportunities came up outside the country and I took them. And I don't have any regrets. I'm making progress now. I'm in engineering, but if you ask me, I'll probably leave engineering very soon because I see that there's a lot more out there that you can do that can be fulfilling. We won't dwell too much on my career. We will let the panelists share their experiences and let you know how their stories went and then how they found the courage, because it takes a lot of courage to make these changes. You might take it for granted, but leaving your training, especially with your parents who have trained you and paid your fees for like 5 years, telling them you no longer want to be engineering, you want to do something else. It takes a lot of willpower and courage to do that. So we will start with Micah. She graduated with a first class. And she was my classmate, by the way, just so you know. So I know her. Like, I'm happy to meet you again, Micah. It's been so many years here. How did you make this transition? What took you away from engineering after graduating with a first class? Like, people look up to people like you so much. Like, you survived engineering, you thrived, you made a first class, and then you left it. What happened?
Yeah, okay, so thank you so much, and I appreciate this opportunity. I'll start by saying that I remember when I was in secondary school, what I wanted to do was finance, was accounting. And I remember bringing it up to my dad, and my dad shut it down, like, don't even say it again. I'm not going to train you to study accounting. So, okay, fine. So I had to go into engineering because my dad insisted I should. But like I always say, I believe that whatever you find for yourself to do, just do it well. Okay, so that was it. So I got into engineering.
Okay, I think we're having I think there's a challenge with Micah's audio.
I can't hear you anymore.
Hello, Micah. Your audio is off. Can you just maybe mute and unmute yourself? Let's see if that'll fix it. Hello, Micah. Are you there? Could you unmute yourself again, please, if you can? No, we can't hear you. Sorry.
You can't say. I think you have challenges network.
Okay, that's all right. We don't have to. We can get back to her in a little bit. Let's see if she's able to fix that in the background. And we can talk about Fortune for the time being. Fortune, you graduated with electronics engineering and left us and went into finance. Why did you do that? What informed your change?
What do you mean left us?
Well, us engineers, the engineers here, and the engineers are looking up to you.
Well, once an engineer, always an engineer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't really go into finance. I worked mostly on the management side of life. And for me, it wasn't really like a conscious decision per se that I didn't want engineering anymore. It was just a thing of I had an opportunity and I decided to take it. So something that happens, and I'm speaking to the students that are listening now, is you would see opportunities throughout your career. You might get a chance through your internship to be in a particular organization that offers you the opportunity to see other things besides just engineering. So what you want to do is to have an open mind to explore those opportunities and to decide whether you want to take it on, or if you have that particular interest in some of those things. So for me, what happened was I got a really good opportunity to work with a software company during my internship. That was something that shaped my life, really. So working with folks who were actually, it was a startup company, it was a nice chill environment. They gave me the skills that I needed for software development. I came back to school after spending 8 months. It was 8 months because there was a strike. I hope you guys don't have access to strikes anymore in Nigeria. But after coming back from my internship, I discovered that I had some really good skills with software development. And I had worked with a company that was a startup environment. So being in that sort of environment, you get a chance to do a lot of things, like being face to face with clients, seeing how all aspects of the business works. And I had really great mentors who were willing to show me all aspects of the business. And I decided this sounds really interesting for me. Went back to UNN and did my final year project writing software. So our project was actually we did a software for University of Nigeria Library. So it was a library management software. And when we were done with that, we presented that to the head of the UNN library at that time, and he started planting some ideas in our heads about how we could actually, monetize this and sell this library management solution, how much money you could make from selling software, which blew my mind at that time. I was just expecting to finish school and go look for, if God willing, maybe an 80,000 naira per month job or something like that. And this guy was telling me that you could sell software for millions. So just listening to that, I decided, okay, maybe there's something to explore, but I didn't really have the tools at that time to just go straight into, starting a company or doing things like that. We did have those ambitions, but we decided not to follow through with it because we needed some experience. So went back to my other company and I asked, hey, I don't want to do software. I want to do more of the project management bit, the bit that will put me in front of clients, so I know how to get those skill sets that I need for, what I would like to do in the future. And they were more than willing to assist. I think they also saw that I had the capabilities and all that. and then they helped me with those opportunities. So I did that. Also had some experience with KPMG, and then worked my way more into project management and business management fields. So the short answer to your question is mostly opportunity. Sometimes what the life gives you some opportunities, and you decide you want to take a different path. So yeah, just keep an open mind. You get opportunities for fields that might not be related to engineering, and you might want to take those opportunities if it appeals to you. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Fortune. You have made a very valid point. Now, you need to be open to opportunities, and they may come outside of engineering. That's a very good point. Now, I have to ask, Fortune, did you find your training in engineering useful in your new field, or did you have to skill up? What did you do to enable you settle into this new role that you're embracing?
Yes, it is very helpful, and I'll say this to the students: you guys are really, really lucky to be in the engineering field. Like engineering gives you a very solid skill set for critical thinking and problem solving. And if one thing you would recognize is even the questions that we solve in engineering, we call them problems. So how do you solve this problem? It might just be a simple math problem. It might be a problem to calculate, I don't know, bending moment or whatever it is, but it's still called a problem. So you already have the tools for thinking of things as problems that you want to solve. So it's a solid skill set. You don't have that. Not too many of your colleagues or your classmates who are in other courses in school have that same mind orientation. So you have that, run with it. It's a solid skill set that you can use to pivot into any other area in life. So if you decide to take a different path, you're already carrying with you this thing that's inbuilt in your DNA to be wanting to solve problems. And the world pays for people who can solve problems. Like, your value to the world is really your ability to solve problems, or your ability to bring value, because that's the value that you bring. So I would say that you run with the skill set that you have. Take this opportunity to hone your abilities to find creative solutions to issues, to problems. Have a curious mind. I'm guessing that's one of the things that brought you to engineering in the first place. So just have a curious mind. When you see challenges, always want to solve those challenges. And there's no employer out there that would see something like that. It's a golden thing to have, and wouldn't want to take advantage of having someone that has those skill sets in their organization. So yes, it gives you critical thinking skills that you can apply to other areas of life, not just career, but even family and things like that. Problem solving skills and abilities, also perseverance. That's another thing. I'm sure you guys know all about perseverance. You go to the library, you have this problem that you need to solve, and you have to go through a couple of books and a couple of ideas, run through first principles, whatever it is, you persevere to get the solution done. So perseverance is also something that's gonna help you. So I'll say those things, keep an open mind, perseverance, problem solving skills, critical thinking skills. Those are things that you could take if you want to pivot into a different field other than engineering.
Okay, thank you so much, Fortune. You have made a valid point. In case you guys missed it, you, by virtue of your training in engineering, have excellent analytical skills, problem-solving skills. You are very numerical. And these are skills that are foundation for most of the careers out there. So you are naturally ahead. And as you agree with me, a lot of the jobs in Nigeria will require that you take a test prior to getting interviewed. And that test has a lot of maths in it that people find challenging. So you're one step ahead of others because you did engineering, you did a lot of math. So that is a plus. Emeka is back now. Emeka, are you okay to continue? Can we get back to you now?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Understand how you converted your first class to a finance degree.
Yes, so I was saying that when we got the opportunity to write the test, lots of people got angry to say, why should we be writing finance? But for me, that was a lifetime opportunity, when you've prepared for your passion. And really, that's what I would want to stress. If you have a passion, don't let anybody tell you you can't do it. Just keep nursing it, keep feeding it. So for me, that was like the opportunity I waited for. And I just said a prayer and I said, God, I can't miss this opportunity. And that was it. And from there, like he said, as an engineer, trust me, you have the advantage. It doesn't matter the field. So it's not like I prepared for a finance test, but yeah, because it was something I was passionate about, I'd read a number of finance books. So the test, it was like we had like different stages, but somehow through it, I was able to scale through and I got in. But of course, that was the beginning of the journey, as you'll probably find out in the course of this panel interview. So basically, what I would say was that I had a passion, I nursed it, I got an opportunity, and I grabbed it. So I think that's more or less resonates with what Fortune said. So thank you. I'll stop there for now.
Thank you, Micah. So from what you've said, we can see that you have to nurture your passions and look out for opportunities that life will give you to take advantage of the things you're already passionate about. It doesn't have to be engineering. In her case, it was accounting. She had wanted to do this all her life. Unfortunately, her father was not very supportive. So she ended up studying engineering, but then, life gave her an opportunity, and because she was ready, she took it. So I guess that is one of the nuggets that we will take home today. We'll move over to Ruth. I can't see her on the call. Ruth, are you there with us?
I'm here.
Hi, Ruth.
Hello.
I understand you studied engineering and decided to move over to educational consulting, and you have built a business for yourself and made a name for yourself there. Can you tell us how this happened, please?
Oh, hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. Okay, so I studied electronic engineering, and I'll always be proud to have my first degree in electronic engineering in the prestigious University of Nigeria, Nsukka. So basically, from third year, I've already started to, ask myself some questions. Is this really what I want to do? Because I feel that for everything we do, the motive behind it is very important. I think I was prepared to know the motive behind what we do, as to how we want to do it, when we want to do it, and most importantly, is there a purpose attached to it. Initially, I've been exposed to engineers, female engineers. I think it was more of the hype. I really liked the idea of being a female engineer. So I went for it at a very tender age of 17. So at my third year, I started to question myself, is this really what I want to do? I was a bit confused because I didn't flow so much compared to my person. Fourth year, I was exposed to oil and gas engineering, oil servicing, and I really enjoyed it. I was even going to go back there after service. It was interesting in instrumentation engineering and all of that. Final year, I still was looking at it.
Okay, I think we've lost Ruth. We will get back to her if she's able to come back online. We can move over to Chinedu in the meantime. Chinedu, you're the jack of all trades and hopefully the master of all. Chinedu was my neighbor. I don't think you remember us, but we used to be neighbors back in UNN, a long time ago. It's good to see you again. It's been so many years. Can you tell us how you are able to juggle all those things and still be successful? How did you do it? And none of these are engineering. Well, not directly engineering anyway. So how did you do it? How did you find yourself?
Thanks. I don't think there's one answer to that question. I just know I do what I love. I have certain things I've grown to love over time, and I just see myself doing them over and over again. I think engineering still remains my first love. I still actively do engineering, but I've also explored a lot of other options. I'm very passionate about business, maybe because I grew up from a typical Igbo family. So we are businessmen all at heart. So that is one. I saw my father do so many things also. He played sports. He was very good with photography, so I also picked one or two from there. And then just generally, whenever I do something I enjoy, I find myself doing it over and over again. So I now am able to make money from some of these hobbies, but it's just, I did them just out of passion. I did them because I love to do them. And whatever you love, you make out time for. It's as simple as that. So for me, engineering was a stepping stone. I think one of the tenets of engineering, as shared by some of the other speakers, has been that it teaches you things like critical thinking, problem solving, how to be analytic, how to understand and play with numbers. I think an add-on to that will be the fact that going to university or getting some degree, a tertiary institution's degree, gives you the ability to learn, most importantly. And that is one of the constants you would always experience in life. Everything has a learning curve. You will never pick up a camera and be a world-class photographer the first day. I prepare to suck anytime I try to do something new, because I understand that is that learning curve. Nobody just went to university. You started somewhere. You must have gone through nursery school, primary school, secondary school, before getting to the institutions. So basically, they teach you how to learn. And then when you're out there in the world, you meet opportunities. So many opportunities. Some opportunities you create yourself. Some opportunities are just given to you on your laps, and you have to seize that moment. So preparing to, or conditioning your mind that everything is possible, you can do everything, especially if you have the passion for it, then it becomes a plus. But also just keeping your mind open to just try out new things, even if you don't have a passion for them. You never know till you actually try it. So I guess that has been my mantra all this while. That has spurred me to do different things, learn different things. I frankly couldn't even squeeze all the things I do. When the moderators asked me for what I do, I just picked the first three that entered my mind. But I have run successful businesses. I do have a full-time job. I do practice engineering. I do photography, amongst others. Most of my passions actually are skewed with the fact that since engineering is my first love, I'll take photography, for example. With photography, I was amazed by things like what is aperture, what is focal length, how do you calculate shutter speed? For a typical physics student, those are terminologies we've seen with, we've played with, we understand, and then it's easy to transition. Because you understand the technology behind it, you kind of are able to be a better photographer in quotes. Same thing with any other practice, even in business. I like the example that Fortune gave, where you technically don't need to know it. Once you have that problem-solving acumen in you, you're able to just get into it and know that, okay, these are the steps I need to solve this problem. I'm able to follow those steps judiciously till I get a conclusion, and I'm able to present my results. It's pretty simple. That template will guide you through any field at all you want to go through. So I guess that's my 2 cents. Over to you, the moderator.
Yeah, thank you, Chinedu. And you made a lot of valid points. I think some of which I can remember are that you need to make time for your passions. You need to not be afraid of trying out new things. And you need to be ready to learn so you can embrace the opportunities that will be presented to you. Those are very valid points. But I have to ask again, Chinedu, what were the other things you did? Because a lot of these young men and women want to know what has worked for some of us, so they can learn from our experience. So if you can be a bit more specific, I just help them understand. And if there were any challenges or skills that you required basically to go into those ventures, you can maybe point them out so they can learn from that as well.
Okay, I think the most important for me was just showing up. And I don't know how to explain this, but maybe I'll say a story of some of my timeline to understand where I'm coming from. So as soon as I finished school, I had the same confusion every single person has in this room. You don't know what next. Staying at home wasn't an option, so I just went out. Initially, I went to Apapa. I didn't know what I was doing in Apapa. They have a lot of clearing and forwarding agents there. I just stood there for some time. And eventually, someone told me there was an opening in an IT company and they were going to pay me peanuts. Frankly, that the salary I earned for 1 year didn't cut my transport and feeding costs. The moderator, you described a very perfect scenario where you're staying on the island, you have to work on the mainland. It can be very painful and uncomfortable. But I went in with the mindset that I needed to learn. So I was like paying for my apprenticeship. And I did it both in photography, where I went to somebody, you snap a picture, I like what you do, can I join you? I was almost like his boy for a year. We did runways, we did maybe real estate shots and so many PR things. And then I just kept on learning and learning and learning and learning as much as I could. And then eventually things just start falling in place. You know, you have value, you have skills, you have things that people want. Once people are able to recognize that you have this value, they come after you. So you get to a point where you really just have to pay your dues, and then things just fall into place. So I just do anything, I do everything. Anything that comes my way, once I have that time, I invest in myself. And it's actually an investment in yourself, because no knowledge is a waste. I grew up hearing that from my dad all the time. No knowledge is a waste. So I found myself reading law books, reading architectural books. I just, anything that comes my way, anything that comes your way, read. The truth is, whatever works for you would find a way to stick. You can also wish it to reality. I read a very powerful book I like so much. It's called The Law of Attraction. And then whatever you think and you kind of like spend a lot of time dwelling in that presence, it actually eventually becomes your reality. I've never been the type of person that wants to do one thing, so I'm really happy where I am. And like the example of Mrs. Charles, who has always wanted to be an accountant, and eventually she wished it to reality. Whatever you invest your mind in eventually becomes your own reality. So think positive, think learning. The sky is your limit. Thank you, moderator.
All right, thank you, Chinedu. And I will share a bit of my experience as well, because some of the things he said actually resonated with me. I remember when I had to do my IT, my industrial training, in my 4th year in engineering. I went to the industry. Unfortunately, I had a friend who was a senior colleague. He had graduated before me. He was working in a nice company in Abuja then. So I asked him, like, you're an engineer, you're making money, you're in industry. How do people who are in engineering outside of school survive? And that single question I asked him gave him the chance, rather, or made him see that I was interested in really understanding what was practical basically, and what was going to work for me. And he introduced me to a couple of his friends. I said, well, these are the guys I work with, and this is how we make money. What does he do? Outside of his regular 9-to-5 jobs, he takes a couple of jobs on the side. He was a civil engineer, so he does a lot of supervision of projects. People are building houses. There's any construction work going on, he lends his services to contractors and other architects. And that's how he makes money. I told him, well, as an electrical engineer, what can you do? These guys also need, once in a while, they get design jobs, like, oh, okay, outside of a regular job, can you help me do a structural design for this building? And that was what he was doing as well, making money. So what did I do? Immediately I heard this from him. I started taking AutoCAD classes. In UNN then, these guys will recall, when we did our engineering drawing, we did it with pen and paper. It was a long time ago. I know they changed. They started using AutoCAD. So in that way, I would say UNN failed me. They could have prepared me better for the markets. They did not do that. But I'm happy to see that I think they set after us, or 2 sets after us. They started doing AutoCAD. So that's a plus to UNN. But I had to skill up, because I could see that this was a way to survive outside of school. That's nobody will tell you. It's not a job. But if I could do the drawings, then I could do drawings for people and get paid. And that's how I was getting paid when I eventually left school, in between my graduation and NYSC. 50K here and there, 10K, 15K here and there. And I was fine. I was living in my father's house. I wasn't paying rent. I wasn't paying for food. So it was enough to get by. Also, I will add another story. While I finished school at around the same time, because I was doing drawings, I also was in contact with a lot of the guys who did the installations. And I could see that the margin they were making on supplying the products, the fittings rather, for the buildings and fitting them was a lot higher than what I was making. Now, on paper, my job looks nice. It's professional. I'm an engineer. I'm doing a design, right? Makes sense. But these guys are making a lot more money, hundreds of thousands. So what did I do? again, I reached out through my network of friends. Fortunately, I had friends who were senior colleagues in engineering, people I met while I was in school, just like you would have met people in 400-500 level when you entered school. Just stay in touch with them. And they told me, well, they have this guy they use to do their site works that if I want to learn, I can reach out to him. And I reached out to him and I started working with him on site. I was a graduate engineer. He was not a graduate. He was just an electrician. But I worked with this guy for a couple of months, learning how to do installations for electrical services for buildings. And that was how I started getting paid as well, while I was waiting for my NYSC call-up letter. So basically, these are practical things that you can do as an engineer. Reach out to your network. Ask them how they're surviving. Ask them what you need to do, basically, to be in a position where you can survive. And they will share tips with you. I don't know if this is still relevant to you at this point, but this was relevant for me, and this was how I was able to manage while I was waiting for, the nice jobs to come, the oil companies and the rest. They never came, but I was also never in a position where I could not have money to basically take care of myself and do basic things. And I will get back to the panel now in a minute. I just need to understand from the panel now. I know that a lot of us were able to pursue careers outside of engineering successfully, but I also know, because I have been in this situation before, do you ever feel like you're a failure for studying engineering up until university, through university, and abandoning that to go and do something else? Well, I say abandon, but it might not be abandoned. I understand it's not abandonment, but just permit me the use of the word. Do you feel guilty for leaving your primary field of training to go and work elsewhere or make a living elsewhere? And this is open to everybody.
Okay, I think I can go first on this one. So it does creep up in my mind sometimes that I haven't fully explored all of the engineering that I did or I studied back when I was in school. So like even when I meet people and I tell them I studied electronic engineering, but they shouldn't call me if they needed any electronic engineering work to be done, because I don't even remember anything I studied back when I was in school. But it does creep up in my mind. But the one thing I've always told myself is you never really know how your life is going to go. So you set plans and make wonderful plans. You before you came into engineering, at the time you were writing JAM, you're like, okay, I'm going to do 5 years of electronic engineering, go get an oil company job, start making the big bucks, and that's how my life is going to go. But you get different opportunities, you take the opportunities. I don't have any regrets. It does creep up in my mind from time to time, especially when I see some really, really good engineering that's being done, not just by like in the industry, but also by my former colleagues and friends. I'm like, yeah, guy sounds like he's living the dream, and sounds really good. But everyone has their own path, and I'm so grateful for the path that I chose. No regrets, and I'm happy where I am.
All right, thanks, Fortune. Chinedu, you don't look like you have any regrets. Do you have any regrets?
No, I do not have any regrets. Although I don't think I'll put myself in the category of those that have abandoned. I actively do engineering. I think it's a way of life. So I'm grateful for being privileged to study engineering. No regrets whatsoever. Thank you.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, thank you. Ruth, you're back. Ruth, what do you think? Having spent a lot of time in educational consulting, do you feel like you left something behind?
No, I don't. As a matter of fact, I think engineering gave me a good footing to start out what I was set to do. I'm more of a purpose-driven person. So at year 3, I'd already started questioning some things. Even being exposed to oil and gas and having the opportunity to go back there, I believe that I was not being fulfilled where I was. So it was a leap of faith for me to, take that bold step. Engineering and education is way far apart. And it took a lot of 7 years precisely to get to where I am today. So for me, it's purpose-driven, and I don't think it's like regrets.
I think what I'll have to say is people's expectation of me might sound like engineering, education, what led to that. You know, initially I had to be a classroom teacher for a while before I found my passion working with children with special needs. So for me, it's like just people's expectations. She's out of engineering, there's a big job waiting, and she has opted out for what? Education. Didn't sound convincing at the time. So, but for me, I'm really happy where I am because I'm making a lot of difference. And for me, that means so much more than anything I can ever think of. So no regrets, please.
Okay, thank you, Ruth. And you mentioned something that was interesting. You said as far back as your 300 level, you were sure or you were suspecting engineering might not be right for you or might not be the path that you wanted to do, or there were other things that you were passionate about. Now, why did you insist on completing your degree? Why couldn't you at that point just move to a different department?
Well, at 300 degree in engineering, I'd already started to suspect this, but at that time, I had not even found out what I wanted to do. So, you know, engineering is so strict that you cannot just move from one place to another. It's in the sciences. So I was not yet sure of what I wanted to do. I was not even sure I would not be practicing engineering. So going on 4th year and working in an oil and gas servicing company, so it's kind of made me even more confused because they were willing to have me after graduation rather. So I was a bit confused and I didn't think it was the right time to start looking for where I would go to just because I was having doubts. So I let myself flow and get to know myself much better. I had finished engineering at the age of 22. So I was still in the process of self-discovery. So it was not until I came out, worked a bit in the engineering firm, I came to realize that I had this feeling of being an average engineer. I was not feeling like everything. I was feeling like I was just getting by. So there was no fulfillment in what I was doing. So I let myself open to other parts of the careers like business development. I worked in business development for a year before I found my passion teaching children with special needs. So that was just it. I couldn't have just stood up at year 3 and say, okay, I'm not sure because of that, I want to do a swap. So, and even at that, I really enjoy the fact that my first degree will always be engineering, and it has given me an edge in everything I do today. It has projected me, and being a graduate of the University of Nigeria is already a big plus. Not to talk of the things that come with it, the intellectual properties that we've been able to acquire and all of that. So I really think that at that time, there's not much I could have done, but I'm grateful that I was able to figure it out now.
Okay, thank you, Ruth. That is an interesting take. And we will get back to you in a minute, but I think the audience will want to understand if we made this choice because we actually found things that we were passionate about, or we're just making it for economic reasons. I know I did for economic reasons. I will be the first to confess. I was looking for more money simply because I needed to live. And so I left engineering for that reason. I'm passionate about engineering. I love it. Unfortunately, I've been able to find my way back to engineering because right now I'm an engineer. If I live in the future, it's going to be for economic reasons, not because I don't like engineering. So that is me. But I don't know about you guys. Micah, for instance, you were able to make the switch successfully. Did you make it because of money, or what was it? What was your primary motivation? I know you mentioned passion earlier, but just let everybody know. Let's see if there's anything else that contributed to that.
Would I say economic? Can you hear me, first of all?
Yeah.
Confirm
yes,
you can hear me because I changed my slide. Okay. So would I say economic reasons? Not exactly, because like I said, I actually applied to be an engineer, but it was a passion. But today, are there economic reasons to remain where I am? Yes, lots of economic reasons, because you probably don't want to leave where you are to do something that's not paying you as much. So yeah, I think, yeah, there's a mix there. But I think more than the economic reason is really finding time to enjoy what you do somehow. Just, even if you didn't enjoy it before, life is too short to be stuck doing what you don't want to do for economic reasons. Even if you don't enjoy it, just find a way to enjoy it. So that's what I would say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Micah. Fortune, how about you? Did you make the switch because of money? Was it a paycheck, or did you find another passion outside of engineering?
Well, maybe I'll say I made the switch because I didn't get oil and gas job. But on a serious note, I wouldn't say it was economic reasons, really. I think it was more of opportunity. I saw something that looked really enticing to me, and I decided to go for it. It might be different. Could have been a different case if I had come out of school. I mean, I still applied for all those oil and gas jobs, hoping I would, rub shoulders with the folks that were earning at that time. 250,000 naira a month sounded like like you had made it in life. So I still applied for those jobs. I still wanted that. I don't know what would have happened to me if I eventually got one of those jobs, whether I would have been fulfilled or not, or whether I would have just been happy making enough money. Just to disabuse your minds about whether you might not earn enough money in engineering. There are people who make a lot of money in engineering. So if you were thinking, oh, this doesn't sound like I'm on the right path here because I'm probably going to have to switch because I'm not going to make enough money, that's not true. I do have friends, and we all have colleagues who, they are in engineering and they're making a lot of money in engineering. So if that's your passion and you're worried about whether you'll be able to survive, yes, there are opportunities. You just have to follow the blueprints of those people who are making a lot of money from engineering. But for me, to answer your question directly, it's more of, I just was in a good place that I saw something that was enticing, and that's why I went with it.
Okay, so I'm the only one that sold out because of money. Well taken. But let's cater to the audience, the members of the audience who are interested in looking for their passion outside of engineering now. I know that they might be confused about what kind of opportunities exist outside our industry and how their careers can be a stepping stone or form like a barrier to entry into some of these fields. So I know that you have done this successfully. Micah, you've done this as well. Could you shed a bit more light on the opportunities that you think are available in your industry because you're there at the moment? And what kind of training you think people who are looking to switch from engineering to such fields need to have? And Micah, let's start with you.
Okay, so thank you. I'll start by saying, number one, it's passion. Really, it's just passion. And what do I mean by passion? Sometimes people look to get lots of certificates. Certificates are good if they come, but I would tell you, opportunities present themselves every day. So don't limit yourself to say, oh, I'm not able to get this certificate. For instance, Fortune said today he's a software developer. And I can tell you that I don't believe he got a software certificate while we were in school. At least I don't remember that. But today he's able to do that because he followed that passion. Now, my brother, in my family, we have like 6 electrical engineers somehow. And I can tell you like 3 of us are not practicing electrical engineering. The first one is a software developer, that's my brother. And then my cousin who works today with Google, she's into strategy development. So again, that's another opportunity. You can get into things like strategy development, risk management, project management. Those are things that are natural for us engineers. But like I said, more important than pursuing certificates, I want to emphasize, is pursuing skills, get the knowledge. If certificates come, yeah, that's very good, but don't limit yourself because you're not able to get a certificate. Like I said, in my own case, I read a lot of books in the things I was interested in, and somehow an opportunity came. And I want to say that opportunities will always present themselves to you. Some of them you might not recognize, But I want you to learn to grab opportunities. Every opportunity you have to learn. You never know when you need it. Okay, so I would say emphatically, yes, there are lots of opportunities for engineers. I said project management. I said things like strategy development. My cousin is currently doing that. I said software development like Fortune is doing. You could actually get into finance. I have people that are contracts engineers. That's also something that engineers do, contracts engineering. You have things like project controls. There's a world of opportunities for engineers, I can tell you that, in the oil and gas industry and every other place. But do not, and I can tell you that most of the people that work in those roles didn't have any certification in those roles before they got in. All they had was their engineering first degree. And then when you get in, you then get all the certification. So pursue your passion. Don't limit yourself. Get knowledge. Just get knowledge as much as you can. Don't limit yourself because of certificate. I don't know if I passed my feeling across.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Micah. You made a very valid point. Pursue your knowledge and pursue your passions rather, and go after knowledge as opposed to gathering certificates. I can remember before I finished school, I had like close to 20 certificates. I never used any of them for anything. I just had them because at the time I thought that was what I needed to do. I spent a lot of money and time getting them. They just never served me. Networking, telecoms training, because GSM was paying people a lot of money at the time. I took a ton of trainings in that. People skills, but then we have also shared that the skills that I found most useful outside of school were not those kind of certifications, but things that had to do with people management skills, how to communicate, how to engage somebody in a conversation, how to answer questions, how to present yourself, and then basically just opening your mind by learning new stuff. Like no information is wasted. In my first interview ever outside of school, I was attending an interview for a bank, and I got the job, by the way, for a bank. And what did they ask me to do? That's why do I think Blackberries are better than, why do I think Android phones are better than Blackberries? Because I mentioned it in one of the answers I was giving. And the guy who was interviewing me was using the BlackBerry phone. He was asking me, like, why do you think Android phones are better than BlackBerry phones? And I got the job, and I can tell you categorically, because we had a lot of conversations outside of this afterwards, was because of how I articulated my response to that question. It wasn't because of my degree or any other certificate I had gotten, but simply because I was able to break down the points and communicate to him in a way that he understood and it made sense to him, because he was a banker. And then they can always use marketing skills and communication skills for employees. But that was a career path I abandoned for something else, for several other reasons that we may not have time to go into. But now I think we need to get back on topic. Sure, June, do you want to add anything else? You're also in a different field, in a different country, as a matter of fact. What opportunities do you think are out there for engineers who want to pursue their passions outside of engineering?
So I think Micah gave some really good examples, and I'll just add to that by saying there is one of our colleagues, our classmates actually, who's also in the same area that I am, and he's in procurement. So he does procurement for companies. So that's another area that you can go into, especially if it's not exactly you being an engineer and solving problems, but you're also doing engineering procurement. So that's another opportunity that you can go into. There's project management, like Micah said. So project management is also a hot topic today. There's cybersecurity, which is also another hot topic today. So if you have any interest in that, you can start going into it. It is, I would argue, an engineering field, but you're also doing something that's very, very marketable in today's world, because the world has changed significantly, and you have to constantly evolve with whatever it is that's making headlines at the time. At the time we were finishing school, like Upe said, it was GSM, it was telecommunications. That was the big thing. So you have to evolve to fit around some of the areas in GSM, like it could be a field engineer, you could be someone doing customer service, you could be someone leading the strategy for telecoms rollouts. All of this somehow are engineering related, because you have to solve problems for a new field. And by the time in the world that we are now is cybersecurity. So you can evolve yourself to be, involved in cybersecurity. It could be as a security analyst. It could be as a network analyst. It could be someone, you could work in some of these companies that build security products. You could be a consultant, like, with KPMG or Lloyd, selling IT risk services. It's not exactly engineering, but it's also like consulting with companies to help them, set up the controls that they need to safeguard their IT systems. There's so many things. By the time you guys are finishing school, there might be a new field. So you want to keep your ears open and keep your eyes open. There might be something new coming forward at some point, when you're finishing school, and you want to be positioned to take advantage of it. So that's what I'll leave it at that.
Okay, thank you, Fortune. You've made a valid point. We should keep our eyes open. Opportunities are everywhere. Thank you very much. Ruth, although yes, before I get to you, Ruth, Fortune, you mentioned cybersecurity and a couple of IT courses. I know that there might be a couple of barriers to entry there because you require certain trainings and maybe certifications. So if you have the money for the trainings, yeah, it's a good field. And there is actually a scarcity of professionals in those fields. If you have the money for the training, it's a good place to go to now. Yes. But if you can always explore, other fields too.
Yeah, and if I can add to that, certifications do help, especially if you're trying to get into a new field. If you're living in a country or in an environment where those certifications are necessary or are needed, or those are the things that will help you stand out for whatever work that you're looking for. So if, for instance, cybersecurity, how do you demonstrate to an employer that you are interested in doing cybersecurity? Is, you've started doing some certifications, or you started working on getting a certification, or you already have a certification. So there are other fields that certification not necessarily might help you going in at the beginning. So for instance, project management. Certification in project management isn't really going to help you get a project management job if you're just coming out from school, because most companies want you to already have that experience. So you might start out, as a project coordinator, as a junior person, and then you gain some experience, and then you go to a certification or something to show that you have what it takes. But there are certain fields that they want you to already have some of the basics, and certifications can help you in some of those fields.
That's good. So we need to probably do some more research if you're interested in going into any field. You can reach out to people who are in those fields through your alumni network or your friends or senior colleagues, or through your lecturers like IG. And she will reach out to some people in the industry to let you know exactly what that entails. Sometimes, like Fortune has pointed out, you might need to do the training before you get the opportunity. Other times you need to get some experience before the trainings will be valuable to you. And I agree with that completely, because what we did when we left school was to rush and do a lot of certifications that we could not now back up with experience. And so they were useless. You spend money, time, effort, getting paper certificates, but you have no experience to back it up. And so the employers don't want you. And Ruth, do you agree that there are a lot of opportunities outside of engineering? Can you share with us some insights in your sector of opportunities that you think engineers can tap into outside of school?
Ruth is on mute.
Ruth, you're on mute.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
For engineering graduates, I feel that there's so much you can do. Like everyone has mentioned earlier, there are lots of opportunities. Before venturing into consulting, I'd tried out business development. So I don't think we're actually restricted. I think there's actually a gap between the school's curriculum and the outside world, in such a way that I've just heard that AutoCAD was introduced. So if a graduate of engineering here has AutoCAD skill, such a person can work as an instrumentation engineer. or a process engineer, you know, so many things. There are different things, even way outside. I think the discussion is more centered towards engineering. From my end, as an educationist, I feel that engineering as a whole, you already have this edge. You can do just about anything or decide to go into anything. You're not restricted by your degree that you must be in risk management, in procurement, or contract management. It's all about you. For me, passion is key. If you're able to find the passion first, then you go ahead and pursue it. My engineering certificate will always be there. Nobody's going to take it away from me, but I found my passion elsewhere. And the next thing to do is to pursue it and get certifications to back it up. Because I feel that the gap between the school and outside is very huge. It's very huge. You go out, when they assess you, they basically take you as a trainee because they don't believe that you have what it takes to start out immediately. Nobody believes that. So it's at that maybe internship at fourth year that you even get a feel of what engineering has to offer. So I feel that there are lots of things anybody can achieve outside engineering. But first of all, when you go out, keep an open mind. You may be called up for a job that is not necessarily in your line of field. Just keep an open mind. It might turn out to be something you like or something you enjoy. So that's all yes, there's a gap between the school and the outside world. And I thank God that you have something like your IT. It is during the IT you hear someone in the same department as you going elsewhere that you didn't even think was in line with your telecommunication. Another person is in the oil and gas industry. Someone else is in software engineering. But at that time, you don't know that these opportunities exist. So if you've not gotten the opportunity during your IT to hear about the different fields that exist, once you're done with NYSC, you see more of that. So I can't begin now to say this and this and this, because I will be going away from the part that says that we are talking about careers outside engineering. So can you succeed outside engineering? Yes, you can succeed outside engineering. Yes, you can even make a U-turn. I have most of my classmates, they are not practicing engineering and they are fine, they are all right. They found their passion in different areas that has nothing to do with engineering and they are doing okay. Not to talk of the female engineers. I'm looking at the UNNECF Viewing Center now and I'm not seeing female engineers. I'm not seeing female graduates to be. I'm seeing more of our men, our boys, our guys, and all of that. So for me, I don't even know where to begin. There's a big gap, and the environment also plays a factor in reducing the amount. Okay, I can see you. That's beautiful. 1, 2. In my time, we were 9. So 9 of us, I don't think up to 3 of us are practicing because there's still that gap. When you go out, you find out that there are so many things you can do outside engineering. So there are so many things you can do. I can't begin to mention because I'll be limiting it to the area that I find myself. So I just feel that you should keep an open mind. If you have a passion that is already engineering related, you go out and look for something that seems like that. That's just what I believe. And that's what I'm doing, is working out for me. And I believe that you find where you should be and excel too. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ruth. Thank you so much. You have shared a lot of wisdom there. And Chinedu, we will get to you in a minute, but I just want to make a quick point because I think I had a lot of experience looking for jobs in Nigeria. I graduated from UNN. I did not graduate with a first class, but I was able to get a lot of nice jobs when I left school, at least the jobs that graduates in Nigeria can hope to get. So I will share with you a bit of my experience and what helped me secure some of these jobs and the sectors that you can target now if you leave school, especially if you're looking at and doing non-engineering roles. One of which is banking. Because of your very numerate skills and because of your ability to crunch numbers and your analytical mindset that engineering develops, a lot of banks will hire engineers straight out of school. You don't need any certificates, you don't need any training. All you need to do is to pass the aptitude test and demonstrate your willingness to learn. They will hire you. I was hired by Heritage Bank. As soon as we got the license, the first batch of people to be hired, and I went through banking school so that I can work in a bank. So I'm a qualified banker too. Another thing is sales. A lot of companies, especially FMCGs, Nigerian breweries, Nestle, Dano, Cowbell, Indomie, several companies out there, they're always looking for salespeople. Now, because of our culture, I would say, in engineering, we're very social people, and we learn a lot of interpersonal communication that you need when you're out in the field to do these sales roles. And I excelled as a salesman, and it wasn't because of any training or certification I got. It was because of all the times I went out in school with my friends and developed that interpersonal skill. You go to a bar, you can talk to somebody, a stranger you've never met. That's how I was able to go to the same bars later on as an employee and talk to customers who I'd never met and get them to drink our beer. So I'm just saying, like, these are not things that you need a paper certificate for, but then there are things that you can also target if you want to go outside of engineering. Something else is if you're interested in taking a similar path to Fortune, for instance, KPMG hires a lot in Nigeria. KPMG, PwC, Deloitte. And then what's the fourth one? I think is there's EY as well. They all hire graduates straight out of school. All you need to have is, I think, 2-1. If you have a 2-1, when you're graduating, you don't need any certificates or any training. All you need to do is to pass the test and demonstrate that you have the people skills and you're willing to learn, and they will take you. And these are all A-list companies that will take good care of you. If you don't want to do consulting or sales, or what's the other one I mentioned, banking, then you can look at a bunch of other companies that do sales for engineering as well. And those companies also hire graduates. If you can demonstrate that you understand the principles of engineering and you have the aptitude to learn. There's Schneider as well. There's Alstom. I know there's GE. Now, these are companies I saw some of my colleagues get into in Lagos, because we're all on the street together looking for jobs together. So I understood their struggles and their jobs that they got without knowing anybody. It's not like, oh, somebody recommended somebody to get these jobs. All the industries I've mentioned, the companies I've called, will hire you purely on merit. So this will give you an idea of where you can start to target. Another thing is, like I mentioned earlier, reach out to your alumni network, talk to your lecturers to ask the students that came before you where they are working and how they got those jobs. And they'll recommend a couple of places for you to target as well. So we will get back to the panel now. Over to you, Chinedu. You have the most interesting background from the panelists because, like I mentioned earlier, you have done a lot of things and successfully, if I may add. Do you think it makes sense that some graduates drop out of engineering, citing that Mark Zuckerberg as a mentor, for instance, that you don't need to graduate from engineering to make it, that they can just go and be entrepreneurs? Do you think they need to drop out of engineering to be successful entrepreneurs? Do you think that is a good approach? What do you recommend from your experience?
Okay, thanks for that very interesting question. I needed a second for you to sink in. In my own fair opinion, and I stand to be corrected, I think it doesn't matter. Sorry. I think it doesn't matter. I really would like to see our educational system very, very flexible in such a way that people who have this passion, who feel like they are being choked and they need that time or space to try out things, have that ability to do so. And maybe if they want to come back to the four walls of the school in, say, 4-10 years, they also have that ability to do so. I say this because I think sometimes we pass through this very rigid path of once you're in, you're stuck for 5 years, and it feels like you can't do anything till you're out. I have seen a lot of other Western clients that are more flexible in their approach. And I don't know if that is the right or wrong answer, but I just know adding a degree of flexibility to how you decide to take your education is one sure way to go. In fact, a lot of the newer approach towards educations where people try to promote self-study, online courses, actually have the self-paced as one of the selling points. So ability to pace out your education is fantastic. Not everybody will be Zuckerberg. So the flexibility of being able to go back to the university at a time you see fit should also be there so that people are not completely discouraged or they feel like they're a failure. But people should really be allowed to try out whatever they want to try, when they want to try it. But having an education, having that certificate can be like a plan B. The likes of Mark Zuckerberg all went back to university. It's important to note that Mark Zuckerberg also has a degree Bill Gates eventually got a degree. So having it in mind that you will eventually go back and finish what you've started, which is one of the traits of very, very successful people. You just don't want to even leave something half done. What does it say about your personality? You want to make sure you finish, get the degree eventually. And if you made success already, fantastic, then you just have that in your back pocket. If you need to fall back to it, then you can go back to school, get the degree and try something else. That flexibility is very key for me. And I think that would be my advice on that subject. The moderator.
Thank you, Chinedu. I am tempted to call you Ned every time you come back. But no worries, I'll give it to Chinedu. Let's just take a few questions. I think the audience are eager to have them a couple of answers. So I will go through the chat and see the questions that are there, and we'll take them and then we'll continue the conversation. All right? So Ruth, you did mention that being a UNN graduate gives you an edge. And I think the audience want to understand how that, what that edge is exactly as a graduate of UNN. What is the edge you think they have? Hello,
Sorry,
Ruth.
is that question to me?
Yes, it's for you, but
yes.
If you're done, we can all chip in if we have insights that we think will be beneficial.
Okay, being an engineering graduate, firstly, I'll first talk about UNN as itself. You know, the motto of UNN says to restore the dignity of man. That is really deep. And for an engineering graduate, there's this mental capability that you have. I would not say way better than others, but there's an inclination towards, you know, great logic abilities and all of that, being very good with calculative tendencies, you know. So it makes it easier. Even I have someone who, after her master's in engineering, went into catering, that's baking cakes and all of that. She said she will always stand out. Why? Because she has great measurement ability. She can, you know, calculate even without wasting so much time. So as an engineering graduate, there are things, even the rigor of, you know, going to classes, the discipline and all of that, it's already there. It's already setting you up for success, except you don't want it. If you find yourself in any field outside engineering, you are definitely going to excel, except you don't want to do that. So being a graduate of engineering, you have just about almost what it takes. And it's like you are being fine-tuned into a person that can, you know, that is self-smart, very self-smart. Even having great interpersonal and personal relationship is great, but in the multiple intelligences, it means that you are self-smart. You can analyze the situation, you can prefer solutions, and now, you know, look at what it takes and make a conclusion on that problem. So I think problem-solving skills and others gives you an edge as an engineering graduate. So you can just do great presentation skills. We do our presentations after IT. I don't know if you don't do that. I did it before I was cleared. So we have, when you come for your project defense, you talk, even when you're in a group, you are expected to, you know, you'll be cross-examined. So it's like you're already ready. It doesn't matter what you are going out there to do. There has to be something that you are already good at because of the skills that you are gathering now. So I think that being an engineering graduate and of University of Nigeria, you are going to excel when you put your mind to just about anything. When I say anything, anything. So you are not restricted. That's what I mean, because where I am now, it just took few years to get here. Normally it would take longer, but being a graduate of engineering, I will always do something different from others. I always do it in a way that would call attention because of the way we are groomed. So I'm happy that I'm an engineer, and I'm sure that that plays well out for everybody, even the lecturers. You already have an edge. There's nothing you can do about it, because we were groomed to be, you know, the super lioness and super lions, and it was difficult. You know, going for TDBs, carrying my brush in my bag to make sure that you are getting that A. So it's a whole lot of things. The discipline, the self-reliance. You can rely on yourself. You don't need somebody so much. And then it also grooms team spirit, being able to play well in a team. You know, we do a lot of group work. You know, you have cliques in the school, you have cliques in your engineering, and you already at fourth year, you already know where you're going to. So it gives you an edge knowing that you can play well in a team, working as a group to achieve your project, to helps you to, develop skills that will set you up for success. So that was what I meant, as in giving you an edge outside here.
Okay, thank you, Ruth. Thank you so much.
Can I just add quickly to that?
All right, Fortune.
Yeah, so one of the first things I noticed when I got into KPMG was the guy that was teaching us, because when you get into KPMG, you have to go through an accounting, you have to do, I can't remember what it was called, I think it was elementary accounting or something like that. And the guy that was teaching us was, of all the people that it could be, the guy was a civil engineer from UNN. So it just tells you that there's something that you have as an engineering student from UNN that gives you an edge, because you already have those innate tools and experiences that helps you to thrive. And even just engineering in general, like even the people that I come across at work, many of them are engineers. Even folks like the Indians, the Chinese, most of them are people that are part of the reason that they excel is because they've also been through this baptism where they learn all these skills of critical thinking and problem solving, and they're able to take that into the environment wherever they work, and they're able to thrive. So you have that. So that's one of the good things that you get from your experience as going through engineering in UNN.
Okay, thank you so much, Fortune. Micah, I see your hand is up. Do you want to add anything quickly?
Yes, so quickly, I'll just add. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can. Yeah,
I don't know if you can hear me, but okay. Yeah, so I'll just add to that about your edge as an engineer. It's really important that you're confident, okay, because really for you to have graduated from UNN engineering, you should know that you're good. Now, I remember when I started off on my current role, it's natural to sometimes feel like you're not good enough. Like she was saying, sometimes there's this force that there's a big gap between what you're taught in school and what happens in the industry. But why don't you ask yourself, every other person that started here probably just started out like you. And if you have that in mind, you know that really there are not much people that are so much better than you, even when you go outside of this country. So I think it's more about having an open mind and being ready to just learn and being ready to apply yourself. So I'll give you an instance. When I came in, I didn't have all the certifications, but then I was ready to apply myself. What do I mean? Every problem I came across, yes, it might be finance, but I was thinking from an engineering point of view, how can I make the processes better? And I tell you, every job I've done always gets better because I applied myself and improved on the processes. So what am I saying? Carry your engineering with you everywhere you go. Whether you're baking, whether you're teaching, whether you're doing software development, carry that mindset. It's a mindset. It's analytics, process improvements. Just carry it with you everywhere you go. And you just find out you outshine people everywhere. It's just natural. So what am I saying in conclusion? You have the edge. Don't really feel that, oh, there's a big gap between what they teach me in school and what I find outside, because everybody faces that. But how do you overcome it? You already have those analytical skills. So apply yourself and improve processes everywhere you go. And I can tell you, you shine. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Micah. And let me just add quickly. I think graduating from UNN, the major edge that you will get is that UNN is a discipline school. It was a discipline school when I left. And because you're passing through a disciplined institution, in engineering, you spend 5 years. 5 years of discipline will make you stand out when you graduate from school. And so people just know that there's an edge to UNN students. They don't understand where it comes from. But I would think it's from the discipline that is imbibed in you as a student of UNN, and that sets you apart. Also, there is the advantage we have of taking our GS courses, which teaches you some form of communication, because communication is how you're going to get by in the world outside of school. You have a degree, yes, but nobody's going to interview you and say, well, calculate this and this and this. They're going to talk to you. and your ability to articulate answers and present it to an audience is how you're going to get that job. If you don't have these skills, you're not going to stand out. Also, from my personal experience, a lot of the interviews I did outside of school, when you see that the final hires have been presented basically or have been taken up by the company, you always see that we have a lot of convenient students. There's something they're doing right in that school because a lot of their graduates come out and they get most of the jobs. This is what I found out based on the numbers that I was looking at for multiple jobs. But from all the public institutions in Nigeria, you find more UNN graduates hired than any other school. Now, I don't know how this happens. I don't know why, but there's something that we have that others don't. And that is the edge that I believe she was referring to. You just find that, maybe other schools might have maybe 50% of the schools in Nigeria represented, one person from each, and like 4 or 5 UNN graduates in the same batch of people recruited, right? And a lot more people from the private schools because obviously they might spend a lot more time developing their students' people competencies than the public schools do. But that is to be expected. So that's just throwing more light on the question. We will go through the questions now briefly. If you can keep the answers to like 2 minutes or less, better. Another question is, most school curriculums are outdated when compared to modern engineering. How do you think fresh graduates can cope? Does anyone on the panel have any advice to the audience regarding this particular question? How do you think graduates can cope? Because they believe that the lessons they're getting in school are outdated and they are not competitive when compared to the rest of the world.
I don't know if I can take that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so like I said, I know we are talking about leaving engineering to venture into new fields, which is really the focus of today. And it's natural, I'll start by saying it's natural if you're ever going to find yourself outside of engineering, it's natural for you to begin to feel like you're not good enough. Even when you've been employed, maybe for instance, you get a project management job or a contract engineering job, you might just feel you're not good enough. But let me start by telling you that you're good enough. In fact, your employer saw something in you for them to have employed you in the first place. I'll give you my experience. So after I got the cost engineering job, I went to meet our head, and I told him that I wasn't feeling good enough because I was coming from an engineering background and there's a lot to learn here. He said, you know what, just calm down. You were good enough. That was why we employed you. And time has proven he was correct. So what am I saying? Don't you ever let anybody make you feel like you're not good enough. You are good enough. In fact, it is the thought that you're not good enough that could actually limit you. But if you believe you're good enough and just let that learning curve take it. What do I mean by learning curve? Of course, it's going to take you a little bit of time to begin to learn new things, but let that course, be completed. And then as you learn, always ask yourself, can I add value? And when you add value as you learn, you find out that you're really good enough. I just want to stress that point. Don't let anybody, and you don't feel like you're not good enough. You are good enough.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Micah. Just to add to that quickly, I know you've all heard of YouTube. How many of you know that you can learn almost anything on YouTube? If you feel like you have taken a lecture and you don't understand the concept or principles, you can go on YouTube and take the lectures for free. And for engineers in Nigeria, you also should be aware that you can take lectures from MIT for free. And they won't be current lectures. They might be like 6, 7-year-old lectures, 10-year-old lectures. But you can take lectures for free from MIT, which is one of the best engineering schools in the world. They record them and put them online for free for those who are interested in learning. So that is a resource that you can take advantage of. If you feel like your training is not sufficient in any field or area, then you can learn from the world best for free as well, provided you have an internet connection. Unfortunately, from your experience schooling abroad, do you think there's a gap between the training you received in Nigeria and that of the rest of the world? Do you think Nigerian students are disadvantaged?
That's a loaded question because there are certain things that you get going through school in Nigeria that you don't get going through school in other parts of the world, and there are certain things you get from other parts of the world that you don't get going through school in Nigeria. I would always joke that you can survive school in Nigeria and UNNECF, you can survive school anywhere. So in my class, when I finished, when I did my master's program, the two best students from my class were Nigerians. It was me and another friend of mine, and we were both in class. So, and it's because we studied under the most severe and unconscionable environments, and that gives us the strength that we and the resilience that we need to survive with education outside. So I wouldn't say, and there are gaps, don't get me wrong. You know, our education system is not the best in the world. Like, there's a reason why people go to study abroad, because a better quality of education. But the field has been brought down to level 2 field, just as Coupe said, and that's because. Can you guys hear me? Am I audible enough? Okay.
Carry on.
Yeah, and so and the best thing that you can do for yourself is to seek out those opportunities on YouTube. If you wanted to do a course on LinkedIn, you have so many opportunities for you to learn things all by yourself. People, I don't know if you've ever watched TikTok or Instagram, or people that are celebrated are folks that don't even have access to the best education facilities, but they go seek out the education that they need to study, and they're able to do all these things by themselves. We have wonderful examples. I don't know if Clinton is on the call, but these are people that are self-taught despite the fact that we don't have the best education system in the world. So there are opportunities to reach out to YouTube, and all those. There's so much knowledge online that can help you with it.
Okay, thank you, Fortune. And for those who are not speaking, if you can leave your microphones on mute, that would be really helpful so we don't get the echoes in the background. This is a question for Roots and Chinedu, because I know you guys have been successful entrepreneurs, so you are best suited to give us valuable insights on regarding this. Now, for people who are looking at they have identified their passions, but they think they are limited by finance, how would you recommend they approach this situation? What would you advise them to do? Because they're interested in pursuing their passions, but they think finance would be an obstacle. Chinedu, you can go first briefly, and then Ruth to chip in. Just 2 minutes, if you can, please.
Okay, I think I'll do it on that 2 minutes. Well, the simple answer for me would be, if you're looking for money, look for money. So we all face different challenges, and eventually you find out money is not always the problem. When tire hits the road, it takes more than money to get your idea to reality, to run that your successful business or launch that product. Money is an aspect though, and then like my approach would be simply, this is the problem, we need money, how do we get money? You've identified the problem, which is half of the work. Now you can go ahead and solve your problem. So there are different ways of getting money. The first port of call typically would be family and friends. And it depends on how big or how small the start you're looking for is, but you also have other avenues. You have venture capitalists, you have ability to crowdfund your ideas. Technology has actually made things a lot more easier. So you need to look for money, just look for money. Find out ways of how to get the particular kind of capital you're looking for. Who are the kind of audience I can talk to that would listen to this, my idea? I've noticed a lot of times people are afraid to pitch their ideas because they feel, oh, I don't want this person to steal my idea. Or if I share it with him, he may not. Trust me, like, it's very, very hard in today's day and time to come up with an idea that hasn't been thought of before, whether you like it or not. You take it, it's a given. What makes you successful is your ability to implement, to take that idea from ideation to a physical product, or build a real business out of it. If collaborating with people, looking for finance, talking to investors is the way to go, then you just have to do that. One of the things that happened to me when I was looking for a job is I took looking for a job as a job. It became a job living every morning to go out and look for a job. If my problem was to look for finance, then looking for money becomes my job, and I treat it like a full-time job. I'll go out there, I'll talk to anybody that cares to listen. I will research, I'll find out people that do this kind of things. I'll approach those kind of people, and just generally till I get that resource I'm looking for, the finance I'm looking for, then the job is not complete. It's just as simple as that. But trust me, there are thousands, and there are lots of ways to actually get finance for your business. There are a lot of organizations that are dedicated to finance businesses. That could be one port of call. You could also learn to take a very lean approach and grow, start with whatever small means you have, and maybe plan to grow it over a certain period of time. There's nothing wrong in also starting small. The great Amazon started in their wardrobe, in their shelf, back of their house. So there's nothing wrong in starting small. Sometimes we have these big ideas and we feel finance is the real limitation, but trust me, there's lots more. But if finance is a limitation, just go for it, talk to people, research. Till you get that finance, the job is not yet done. Or till you get that money, the job is not yet done. Just keep going at it, talk to as many people as you can. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Chinedu. Very practical wisdom there for everyone. Ruth, do you have anything to add briefly, please?
Okay, well, the question says limitation by finance when you have the passion already. If really you have a passion for something, you have to start where you are. There's no two ways about it. You really need to start where you are. If your passion is like going back to study something differently, of course you need money. But if it's in terms of starting a business, you have to really have the mindset of growing. You have to start small, really. It's not, if it's a passion, you can't just come out and everything is set. That's not how any good business or any good career that will stand the test of time doesn't grow that way. It's a process. So I don't think you should have that in your mind that you are being limited by finance. It's something that it will come. If you have a passion, most people don't even know what passion is. When you find out your passion, start from where you are. It's very important to start and grow. It makes it stable, so you don't just come out and tell everybody I've come to this point, now I need money, money, money. If you're handed that money, I'm sure you would even have a problem with it. So start where you are, consult people that are already in that line of your passion. Look for a mentor. Look for a mentor that will guide you towards that journey. Look for people that are already in that pathway. We always have this mentality about money. Sometimes it's not really about money. It's about finding someone to hold your hand, someone that's already crossed the same place you want to cross. So when there's now need for money, you know that, okay, this money is going into so and so. But if you have this mindset that your passion is only tied to money, I don't think that's good enough. I don't think it's good enough. I funded my postgraduate diploma in education, in educational psychology, guidance and counseling while I was still working. Right now, I'm having my Master's of Education in view. I pay for those from my job at the time. So now being an educational consultant, I'm now more flexible. I didn't come out and everything happened. No graduate comes out, and except if your father owns a company or a share in a company, finance shouldn't be your problem. It should be such that, okay, I found my passion, which I feel that if you've done that, you have already made 60% success already. So if your passion needs to be funded, you have to look for the right person to, affirm that, yes, you really need this money. You don't just go out looking for money. It can be very dicey. So if someone guides you and say, fine, there will be need for money, then there are different means to getting money. Like Chinedu said, there's family and friends, which is the first point of call. Then if it is that big that you need to take a loan, how responsible are you? How disciplined are you? And it comes with a lot. Taking a loan because you feel you need fast money, there are consequences. You really need to be prepared. So for me, I feel if you find your passion, look for someone in that line. Look for someone to mentor you. Mentorship is really important. So that's all I have to say. If your mentor feels there's a need for money, I'm sure there are ways that it can be sorted out, So finance shouldn't be the main thing to limit you to pursue your passion, really. It shouldn't be. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Ruth. We have taken quite a bit of time. but we will move on to the conversation. I'll just take one more question, which is, how can I avoid my class of degree from impacting my psychology, self-esteem, and view of opportunities available to you? And I will answer this one quickly. The thing is, it's a difficult place to be in, but you have to understand that every challenge in this life can have a solution to it. And I will refer you to myself. I finished with a 2-2 and I work for a Fortune 100 company. So if that doesn't inspire you, I don't know what is. I'm working with my UNN certificate. Now, I'm doing the master's abroad, but I started doing the master's after getting the job, not before. So if you think the class of your degree is going to get in your way, well, I don't know. What is important is what value you're bringing to the company. If you can get yourself to the point where you can add value to the company, find where you can add value. If you can get yourself to that point, I'm sure companies will be happy to have you. We will move back to the Q&A session with the panelists so we can explore the depth of their experience and wisdom for everyone's benefit. And if it is possible, we can take some questions at the end before we're done. We will also try to keep the responses to 2 minutes or less. And if we can, please, the panelists, let's just try and keep it to 2 minutes or less so we can cover as much as we can today. And I will move over to Emeka. Emeka, what kind of skills do you think graduates need basically to move into the industry? Because you have been fortunate to practice engineering, have a lecturing job, and also move into the oil and gas fields. What skills do you think people need? And we will be focusing on non-engineering career paths because I believe they had a session with engineers yesterday and they were able to cover that in depth. So we will focus on non-engineering paths, really. What do you think people need to focus on if they're exploring their passions and careers outside of engineering like you have done?
Okay, so firstly, I guess this might be more tailored towards soft skills, right? Or just any skill.
You're the expert, Emeka. You're the one doing it. So tell us soft skills, whatever you think.
Okay, so what skills do you need as an engineer if you're going to venture into field outside of engineering?
Yes, and
sorry, do you hear me? Can you hear me?
I say 2 minutes, please, if you can, so we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my time starts now, I hope. So basically, I said number one, the first one I would say is learn public speaking or communication. Like he said, learn to communicate your ideas. Because I remember when I had to do my one of the last interview I had to do, I was given a presentation I was just given like, is it 5 minutes to prepare for a presentation I was going to make in front of a board of big guys. And I had to put it together and I had to speak and I had to make my point. And I remember Lupe also said the same thing, where you're asked a question and really what they want to look at is your ability to articulate your ideas. So you probably know what you know, but you need to learn to get your idea across to the other person. I don't know if I can emphasize that enough. So the first one you need to learn is communication ability. It's so important because no matter how well you know or no matter how much you know, the other person cannot know you know until you're able to pass it across. So number one, I would say is communication skills. And then the second one is negotiation. Okay, so a lot of us can actually get more in life than we are actually getting. And that's why I like to tell people, don't let people put you down. Okay, sometimes I remember a lady applied for a job and then they were asking people, how much do you want us to pay you? And they went like, anything, just give me the work. And they got the job. And another lady was asked, how much would you like to be paid? And she said, this is what I want to be paid. And they asked her, why do you want to be paid that much? I mean, this is somebody close to me. And she said, well, I want you to pay me this much because of this. And she got the job and she was paid that much. She was given a level higher than those other people because she could negotiate. So I've mentioned two things, communication and negotiation. Let me stop there because of my 2 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ruth, now if you can answer us quickly. Are you there, Ruth? What skills do you think one needs to succeed in the field that you're in now? Say as an education consultant, what do you think our graduates will need to look at learning?
Okay, normally skills are divided into hard and soft skills, just like she said. So for my area of specialty, you need to be an effective communicator. You must have good communication and presentation skills. You must be able to work in a team. You must be a team player, yeah? Then you should also be very resourceful. You know, creative abilities really mattered in educational consultancy, because the part where I work has to do with children with learning disabilities. So that comes with a lot of creative abilities. Also, you need to be open to continuous development, self-development, you know, go online, take, so it should be something that nobody needs to prompt you. You can go on Allison, New Life Academy, you can have extra coaching or trainings, you know, so many things you can do. So for soft skills, you must be able to play in a team. You must be able to present, you know, very articulate. And for hard skills, you can, you know, keep improving in that line. Take trainings that are relevant to your area of specialty. I think that's just it.
All right, thank you, Ruth. Thank you so much. That was very brief, just how we want it to be. Fortune, can you add a few lines to this, please? Just tell us briefly, for those who want to do non-engineering related careers outside of school, how can they leverage their training engineering to develop the competencies that they need to survive and thrive outside of engineering? What do you have to say?
Yeah, I'll also answer that question in addition to, there's a new question that just popped up asking, can these soft skills be acquired through school activities? So I'll answer that in addition to this. And it's really, I'm excited about this question because school gives you not just your engineering training, but school itself gives you a wonderful opportunity to gather all the skill sets that you need, at least the foundational skill sets that you need to be able to thrive when you go outside. It's all up to you to reach out and grab it. So the opportunities for you to develop your soft skills in particular, as well as your hard skills. Your hard skills, you get that from your training in the classroom. Your soft skills, you get that from working on a project together with your classmates. You get that from running for a student union government position. You get that from taking up leadership positions in your church, from taking leadership positions in your church societies. You get that from being involved in sports. You get that from involved in politics in your hostels. You get that from being involved in even going to those parties that you think are a waste of time, but they really are not, because with soft skills, so many extracurricular activities that you have available to you in school. So something that I remember very clearly, one of the best advice my dad gave me as I was going to school was, there's a saying, he said, university is mahadum, which means in Igbo, like you learn everything in university. So sink your teeth into all these activities, as many as you can carry, that wouldn't impact your degree, obviously. And those are the things that will give you this. You said I got involved in student union government. And I did it not because I loved the department so much and I wanted to transform the department as a secretary general of the faculty, but because I wanted those skill sets as well. And get the opportunity to do it. Always look for opportunities to be in a position where you can be part of a team, get involved. So that's what I would say.
Okay, thank you, Fortune. Very practical advice there. You can start to involve yourself in more things in school, extracurricular activities, organizations, and unions. And those will give you the opportunity to package yourself and learn these critical presentation skills that will be valuable to you. Chinedu, over to you now. If you can, tell us what you are looking at doing next, because you seem to have conquered the world. I don't know what's next for you. Where do you think you go to next? And do you have any other advice for our young graduates, just as a final word of advice, basically?
Thanks for that question. I really don't know what I'll do next. There's so many things in my mind. I want to be a YouTuber. I've always loved working with children also. So there's quite a lot. I don't want to throw out anything yet, but I'm really excited about what the future holds, you know. My closing notes would be, I wanted to make a comment a while back during one of the questions. I guess I could use some time to do that now. I want the audience to understand that choosing what you do can also be a conscious effort. It's also important for you to know what like the future workplace will require or what the future career paths should be versus there are some courses or there are some careers that are dying. It's important for us to know that. A couple of years back, career paths like being a travel agent or being a cashier or having a printing press felt like it made sense. But right now, you see, with technology and a lot of paradigm shifts in different aspects and economies, you find out that some career paths are going to be relevant very, very soon. Something as shocking as even a football referee's role is now being threatened by VAR. So you have to be very careful there. So try to research on what is new. It's always good if you can pioneer something. Sometimes you take the problems you have and you turn them to blessings. You look at the skill gaps you have within your region and you try to develop on those skills and pioneer, that kind of stuff in your area. Because engineering is close to technology and I'm in the IT space, I can recommend a few, some of the very trending technologies, areas around artificial intelligence, big data, the Internet of Things, virtual reality, blockchain technology, and the likes are aspects you can really dig into. And you can actually use these technologies in other areas, so be it education, healthcare, or just having products that make sense to humanity. You have that opportunity to pioneer those fields. The internet has made it a level playing ground, so there is actual content on any single material or course or skill you want to learn online. You just have to know how to look for it at the right place. Keep it in mind that once you're leaving the four walls of the university, you're entering another stage in your life where learning just starts again. So the concept or the thoughts that I finish university, I'm done with learning, I just look for a job should not be the right way to think. You should see learning as a continuous, learning and development as a continuous skill or habit to keep up. You keep doing that all the rest of your life. And generally, try to have fun whenever you're doing anything. It's good to be motivated by money. If money is the fun in it, then it's fine. Otherwise, really find things that you find passion in doing, and you don't see as work. You see as actually you're having fun. I guess that will be my 2 cents. Over to you, the moderator. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chinedu. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, Chinedu has taken the time that I set aside for the men, so we'll move over to the females. And we will start with Emeka. Emeka, can you tell us, please, tell the graduates rather, what advice you think they would find most useful? And if you can, just think of it as talking to yourself when you were back in school. What kind of advice would you have wanted to get back in the day that you think will help you position you for success outside of engineering when you graduate? If you can keep it down to 1 minute, it's better.
Okay. So the advice I would give myself, my young self, would be, like he just said, keep learning. Don't stop learning, keep adding to yourself. It's like this law of inertia, I don't know if you all know about it, that says an object remains at its state of rest until a force that is unbalanced moves it. And to keep moving until something stops it. Now, how can you take advantage of that law? Now, if the mass of that object is very large, what that means is that not everything can stop you. But I mean, if it's a very light thing like a piece of paper, that means almost anything can stop you. So how do you take advantage of it in real life? Just keep increasing your capacity, keep adding to yourself, learn a language, learn a skill, get on the internet, learn data, learn Internet of Things. Just keep learning, keep adding to yourself. And especially to the ladies, sorry, I don't know if I'm out of my 1 minute, but I would want to emphasize to the ladies, because for us, we have a lot of opposing factors, biological and society and all of that. So just keep learning. Don't let anything stop you, and you'll be just fine. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Micah. Short points and then very, very practical. Bruce, Can you add anything quickly? Remember, 1 minute.
Okay, well, I'll say to my younger self, it's a life of possibilities. Keep an open mind and build network with people around and keep developing yourself, because anything can just come popping and you need to be ready. That's just it.
Okay, like the Boy Scouts marching song, right? Be prepared. Fortunately, I think we can squeeze you in for 30 seconds if you can just add 1 or 2 things.
Yeah, I would say enjoy the process. Enjoy the process. So don't sweat it. Everyone is in the same position as you when they come out of school, you know, asking, where do I go? What do I do next? Am I good enough? But just enjoy the process. Keep an open mind. Opportunities will come. When the opportunities come, make sure you take those opportunities. Also be honest and true to yourself. So find out what your principles are. Find out what makes you happy. Decide by yourself whether any path that comes your way is the path that you want to take. And the moment you know it's not, make sure that you do a U-turn and go to a different path. Just look for those opportunities that will help you get to where you want to go.
Thank you, Fortune. You made a valid point. Be brave enough to change your path or turn your life around if you find that you're doing something you're not passionate about. It's never too late to start again. And you only really fail when you stop trying. I can see that the questions that we did not touch were mostly around financing our passions and our wonderful creative ideas. So IJ, if that's something that you can explore with the guys later on, maybe in a different forum, how they can secure funding to fund their ideas and passions, that might be helpful to them as well. Thank you all so much. You've been wonderful panelists and great audiences, even though I can't hear you guys. I'm sure that wherever you are contributing your 2 cents, like Ned would say. So thank you so much for having us. And we are, I believe, we're all happy to have gotten the chance to share our experiences and wisdom with all of you. Don't be afraid to reach out to the Alumni Network. If there's anybody that is doing something you think you're interested in, always, you can send them an email, send them a message. I'm sure they'll be happy to help. I've reached out to several people during the course of my career that I never knew from anywhere, and they gave me advice that I used to get where I am now. So don't be afraid to reach out. And if you don't know anybody, walk up to your lecturers and ask them if they know anybody, basically, a former student that is in a related field, and they'll be happy to help as well. So we will hand over to IJ now. IJ, thank you so much for organizing and thank you for having us. We are very grateful for the time and then your patience as well with us. I know we stretched the time a little bit.
Thank you so much. We thank you so much, our panelists, for making out time out of your very busy schedule. Just before we close out, we have an announcement by the CEO of Clintonel. I think he should be speaking now because he has an announcement for the students and also to thank you all, our panelists. Clinton, I don't know if you're available. While we are waiting for him, all our speakers, please, if you could turn on your video so we could take a quick screenshot for the students. I need to do that for you as well. So just a second. Clinton, are you available?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but we can't see you. Yes, good.
Can you see me now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, you can hear me and you can see me now.
Yes, we can. We can.
Okay. So I can see Fortune, how are you doing? Good to see you. I can see Chinedu. I can see Gube. I can see my people here. Ozuli is there too. Jamaica, you know, all the other people, you know. And Ruth, I can see you. Ruth, thank you. So I've been listening all this while. I was telling someone a few minutes ago about the panel. That this panel, is amazing. Some minutes before the panel, IJ, was with me. And she was telling me that she doesn't know how this panel will go. So I said, don't worry, that as long as the people you've invited have experience in the topic, that, you shouldn't worry about it. Once they have experience, that it will be natural. And from what I've been listening all this while, You know, it's been very rich and insightful. I wish Fortune and Co. I wish we had this kind of thing, you know, in our time. Maybe where I am today, I wouldn't be there. As a consultant. So, you know, it's been rich. Thank you all. The panel has been amazing. Amazing. In fact, Wahid, the person from the Royal Academy, sent me an email that, you know, the panel was very wonderful. He enjoyed the panel. So it's been great. So thank you all for making a great, you know, panel. And for me, being a graduate, I learned a lot. So I'm now imagining the fresh graduates and the students, you know, what they must have learned. So this is very insightful, you know, and provides a lot of clarity for, you know, the young people who are, those who are newly graduated and those who are, you know, who will soon graduate. Thank you. I want to say special thanks to Ijoma Ezika. Ijoma has been amazing. She's the brain behind the UNN career fair. Ijoma, thank you so much for putting together. She's the organizer of this career fair. She has done a billion things to make this possible. And this has been a very smooth and successful event. So Ijoma, thank you so much for the collaboration. For the collaboration and for putting this together. You've done an excellent job. This has been a very successful event. Thank you. I want to thank the volunteers that have worked with Dr. Ijoma. You people have been amazing. You volunteered to also organize and put this together. So for all the amazing volunteers, thank you so much for making this possible. I want to say special thanks to the Clintonel team. All the way from Aba, you know, you came with me and you've been here handling different sections, different training sections. I can see Chemela, thank you. You've been doing amazing things. Thank you, Ineke. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Godson. Thank you, Hope. Thank you, OK. Thank you, all the people, you know, that came. Thank you, Engineer Zulu, for the section you handled. It's been amazing. So I want to say thank you to all the Clintonel team, both here in Aba, and then those that came here. Thank you so much for helping and working with Ijoma to make this program successful. I want to also thank the Faculty of Engineering, University of Nigeria and Nsukka, for giving us this opportunity, because if they didn't say yes, this would be possible. So I'm proud that as an alumni of the faculty, I'm proud that I have a faculty that's open to collaboration with the industry, open to partnership, supportive. We've gotten enormous support from the faculty to make this event possible. So I want to thank the Faculty of Engineering, UNN, thank the Dean of the faculty, and the Associate Dean, Professor Bemina. So, and of course, to the HOD of Electronic Engineering. We've had, you know, very warm, you know, welcome in the university, and it's encouraging. We hope that more and more industries will come in to partner and then to help to support engineering education in UNN and across Nigeria. We want to also thank all the participants for these 3 days. We've had hundreds and hundreds of students and fresh graduates participating. Some even traveled all the way from different states. Like there's someone here from Aba. He traveled all the way from Aba to come and participate in this. So for all the participants who have been here, some have even sacrificed their lectures, you know, abandoned lectures just to come. I hope it was valuable and, you know, worth your time. You know, so thank you for all the students, you know, all the people that participated, both graduates and students. Thanks to all the people who have done trainings for us. We've had people who did training in machine learning, in VR, in different courses, Ozulu and all that. We are grateful. Thank you. This program is part of this UNN Engineering Career Fair is organized as part of a national project, Engineering for Industry, E4I, which is a project that Clintonel is delivering across the nation. The project aims to bridge the engineering skills gap in Nigeria between the industry and the academia. So we provide capacity building for engineering lecturers, graduate students. We provide STEM, training, STEM education, internship placement for students, and for graduates and for lecturers, a lot of other things, collaboration, research, commercialization, and other things that we do. We also do advocacy for the review of the curriculum of engineering education in Nigeria. That's all part of what we do. We also help to identify research work and innovations in different universities and try to commercialize them, in the industry, and also to translate industry problems into academic research, so that we can have a system where engineering graduates are prepared to fit into the industry. So this project, the E4I project, is supported by Engineering X. Engineering X is an international collaboration founded by the Royal Academy of Engineering UK and the Laws Register Foundation UK. So thank you, Royal Academy, for supporting this event and making it possible, and for supporting all the other activities that we do within the Engineering for Industry program. So we are coming to the end of the event. It's been a 3 days of fruitful engagement, learning, insights, and training. Just before we end, there is opportunity for internship at Clintonel Innovation Centre. So we are providing opportunity for engineering students for internship. So if you are an engineering student and you want to do internship at Clintonel, we will share for those that are here present. Please don't go. We are going to announce and share the link for application. So don't go. Those that are present, don't go. Very soon, just after my speech, we'll share with you the details of the internship application. And for the other ones who have registered, we'll also share the details through email. So thank you, everyone that have been a part of this. I've enjoyed myself. I've learned a lot, and we are taking the world. Thank you. So I will take this back to Ijoma and Rado, if she's Ijoma Ezika, if she's around to conclude. If she's not around, I can conclude that. Okay, she's around. Yeah, Ijoma, please. You can conclude this. Thank you.
Everyone, thank you to our students for the attendance was massive. Like I didn't even expect it. It shows how much we are excited about the future. So thank you to Clintonel, thank you to everyone. So a big round of applause to all of us. When we were putting all this together with all the things that were happening, I was like, you're going to work with students, you're going to look for your things, you're going to do this. But guess what? All our students cooperated. There was no shouting or struggling for food or, typical student thing. So, I really enjoyed this session and I'm very happy about it. So I want to say thank you and good night. See you next year, UNN Career Fair 2022.
Bye.
So we declared it closed. Thank you. Amen.